Okay, Syntaktics, welcome back to the channel. One take, we got things to do today. Okay, so you might notice that the Syntakt doesn't have an arpeggiator. Now, you could just grab like a real cool key step and, play an arpeggiator with it. But my friend Jacob taught me a really cool trick here, right? So first Syntactic, go to the sound design page, which is the LFO page, right? That's where you do all your sound designing, okay? And what we've done here is we have set up an LFO with a square wave going at 32 BPM multiplier and another one going at 16 BPM multiplier. Now, one of them is going 4 semitones up and another is going 3 semitones up. And they're both going to the synthesizer tune here. So now what happens when I trig this button is it sounds like this. And if I play it on the keyboard, so that's a pretty cool way to kind of cheat an arpeggiator sound up in this bad boy right here. You know what I mean? It's very fun. Especially with a little bit of maybe delay on there. Give it a little bit of reverb. And then this is going to stay in tune with your pattern tempo, right? Which is pretty cool, okay? So there you go. There's a fun little way to trick a 3-note arpeggiator. And whatever you set these LFO values to, those are going to be your notes. But make sure that you set them at proper intervals so that when they stack, there's still going to be something, usable. So that's why I did 4 and 3, so that when they hit the stack, it's going to kind of sound like a 1-4-7, on the semitones thing, which, yeah. So there you go. Play around with that one, guys. It's mucho fun. Okay, so now let's take a look at a little something different here, like this guy here. The next syntactic is step record mode. Now, I didn't really find much use for step record mode in the Digitact, because it's a sampler and I'm not really using that sort of thing for that sort of thing. But on the Syntakt, step record mode is incredibly helpful, especially for doing melodic stuff. So let me show you 2 things and how they work together, right? The way you access step record mode is by holding record and then hitting stop. It'll put that little green cursor at the start of your sequence for you. And now any note you hit is going to be entered in there. So just like the SH-101, right? So if we were to, and if you want to skip a note, you just go ahead. Or you could go back and overwrite things. So very nice. So let's go. And then maybe, let's go bop and then. All right, so let's take a listen. Right? It's nifty. You're just walking right up the scales. But what is really cool about this is that you can start to then, cut, copy, and paste all sorts of different things to get, really interesting new patterns. So I like to, stick that in one little first opening bar here and then extend the pattern here, right? So now we've got on this page 2 the exact same thing. We don't need it, but we could go back to page 1, hit copy, come over here, paste that right there. Maybe grab these 2, copy, put them right here. And then, maybe what I'm going to do is like these 3 notes, copy, and put them right here. And then what I might do is come and assign like a ton of these to like different ratio probabilities. Like that, and then maybe like this, and then over here maybe just like 2 of these guys, Bam. Right. Okay. So now we got this weird thing in here, and we're going to go like that and actually do you to this. And then you two, you're going to be this. Right. So now we got some weird shit going on. Right. And it's a lot more interesting. And we kind of just, like farted that little sequence out here. So, that's kind of cool, I guess. But let's take a look at something that's a little bit more, I don't know, not bad. Okay, so I was listening to Com Trues all day today. So, I was like making little Com Trues bass line here, right? So I made a bass line and it's not bad, but it's way too fast. So let's take a look at something that has just changed my life and my workflow here. So, bam. Right, we're familiar with the pattern page here, right? Function page. And then we're probably even familiar with function yes, where you can change the length of your pattern per track. And that's pretty awesome, right? And you can change the scale and all those things too here. Okay, right? Cool, dope. Okay, so maybe let's say we want to slow this down here. That was the wrong track that I was on right there. So we got to set that back to what it needs to be and go to the one we want to be on. Okay, and that's pretty cool, but let's take a look at what's going on in that track here, right? So I've got 2 pages of notes in this sequence here, right? But when I hit play, it's only playing the first one, right? Because this track, we just half-timed it, right? So it's working at halftime. So this always kind of weirded me out, right? What are these two little dealios over here? So you've got the change length and the master length. So the master length of now, and let's back up. Let's back up a little bit and let's be analytical about this and just think for just a quick second about our tactics here. So on this page, we can see all the information we need is presented to us. I just ignored it for a long ass time, right? So track 5, that's the length of track 5, right? 32 steps, which makes total sense because it's 2 pages of 16. Right? Going at half time. Makes total sense. Change length. What is that? Well, the change length is how long the pattern is going to play before a new pattern that's been queued up. So, if you go to your pattern menu and you say this new pattern is change length is how long it's going to play until it changes pattern, right? So think of it like your global quantize in Ableton, you know what I mean? Like how you can set that to like 2 bars, and then if you hit, the next scene, it'll wait 2 bars. That's what that is, right? Now, master length is the length of the entire pattern. So what this does is a really, really interesting thing where if we were to hold this and go to 64 now, it's going to play all 64 steps in the pattern regardless of the scaling speed here. It's going to play 64 steps and then restart. So at our halftime thing, it's going to play our entire bar here. And I hope that was clear. Let's take a listen. Right? Okay, so now we've got our nice, basically, halftime 32-step pattern, which is now a 64-step pattern just slowed down. And it sounds great, okay? And that's really cool. And what we can use this master length thing here for is kind of like a hack. We can use it to stutter the entire pattern here. So let's give me my kick drum back here, and I think this is it's something like this, right? All right. Okay. So it sounded nice and calm, cruisy, right? So we can use function and this H button here to like step it down. You see that? It's just looping that one little segment there, that first 16 steps. Now we can go even further back, right? Now, this is working because I've got this incredibly simple drum pattern. It's just like, you know, the kick and the snare and these hi-hats here, right? So this pattern is now 16 steps across all tracks. It's just doing the first 16 steps. That's cool. You know, so we can actually take this to infinity. We can take this very, 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 very long. So you can now use this. Think about this as like, you can have tracks super duper slowed down. Things that are happening once every, 64 steps, and then set the master length to this huge number. But know that master length is going to affect the change length as well. So, that's something to keep in mind. But for my purposes here, this is way too long, and 64 is the perfect amount here, right? And this is a pretty nice little beat here. I got some fills on here. All right, and those are the Syntaktics for today. We got 3 quick ones here. So let's, recap real fast. We got that Arpeggiator trick, very super duper fun and cool. We got the step recording, which is basically just like the SH-101 style sequencer. Very fun, very cool. And then we've got cool length parameters, which help us to create spicy, juicy, long patterns. And, they're very fun and cool, and I'm sure you will find a good use for them. So, yeah, that's all for today, everybody. Make sure you check the bio for like links and bullcrap and stuff like that. And I'll see you next time. Let me know how the camera looks and everything, So, yeah. Okay, bye.